Hi, and welcome to Dramatic Knits. My name is Steve, also known as Dramatic Knits.
And I'm Callie, also known as Cowsters.
And I'm Yarn Hoarder.
Also known as...
Amber. I did it backwards.
She's out of practice.
Then I almost cursed him.
Anyway, as you can see, we have a spontaneous random guest here on the Dramatic Knits podcast this week, and we're so excited because we talk very much about our friend Amber, the Yarn Hoarder, who, if you're not watching our podcast, you're living under a rock. But we love her very much, and so she was in the area for an event, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, and she decided to stop by on our way home, and so we said, can we wrangle you into recording with us? And her kind soul said yes. So... we're going to run things as normal as we can this episode, but, Amber will be chiming in, and you'll hear lawnmowers in the background, possibly, because it's actually beautiful weather with the cross breeze up here, so we can't deny any of us that beautiful breeze. So, anyway, let's start right off. This is episode 292. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for returning. And if you're new, this might be a little bit of a different episode, just saying. But we hope you'll come back in the future and enjoy today's podcast as well. So, let's go into the past 2 weeks in review for ourselves. Things have been a bit crazy here. Not going to get any easier, but I've been traveling a lot. Last time we spoke, I was getting ready to head to Northern Michigan, up in West Branch, Michigan, to vend at the Northern Michigan Lamb and Wool Festival. Left on a Thursday night with my sister, drove just into Michigan, got a hotel room, and drove the rest on Friday morning. Set up, and had a lovely event. If you stopped by, thank you so much. There was a few of you who said that you watched the podcast, and we really appreciate that you came out and supported Leading Men Fiber Arts, and as well as saying hi and whatnot. So it was a good event. It was the first time for us, and we'll be back next year. We applied, and we'll be back next year. So, and then it was a long day on Monday. We stayed Sunday night and drove the whole thing. It was about 7.5 to 8 hours. Drove that completely back on Monday, and then Tuesday I set up for a trunk show at our local yarn store, which is part of the reason why Amber came. And then. No, not Tuesday I didn't. That was Thursday I set up for a trunk show. And then the book signing for Minnesota 52, Corey, I Rock Knits, one of the authors of Minnesota 52, which is the main reason why Amber was in town this weekend, was on Friday night. And so Andy and I and Amber and Corey and our local yarn store owner Kelly, we had dinner and then got to enjoy Corey and all her book signing gloriousness and catch up, and it was good times. And then yesterday we got to hang out while Corey was teaching and have dinner, and that was fun too. So that's pretty much been my 2 weeks. I'm going to pass it over to Callie, and then we'll get to Amber.
So my 2 weeks have been really busy. Last week was National 4-H Week, so lots of huge events. And I was the lead on 2 huge work projects. So we did a meal packaging event. So we packaged a little over 22,000 servings of food, and it equated out to be about 9 cents per serving, or about 54 cents a bag. So it was a really great turnout. All of the food went to the 3 counties that make up our unit, our local food pantries, and the rest went to a large food bank that is helping out all of the hurricane victims as of recent tragedies. So that was good to be able to do big and small work. And then that Monday we did a work event at my gym for our National Youth Science Day, and that went well. We didn't have as many kiddos as we would have liked, but we still had some, and that turned out great. And one of my kids called my trainer old, which was glorious to witness his reaction on that. And yeah, it's been busy. It's not slowing down by any means, so yeah.
So what have you been up to the last 2 weeks, Amber? I know we recently got to catch up with you on your podcast, which was glorious.
Yes. 2 weeks. I was so sick before, and so I pulled... I was doing a lot of napping, not going to lie, and then pulled a couple old dayers, and that was tough because I didn't get my nap in. But I feel so much better. so much better. And so for the last week, work has really been calm, and so I've spent a lot of time just at home working on my Rhinebeck sweater, and I have a week left to get it done in, and it's going to be close. But yeah, so there's not a lot that goes on here. Do a lot of knitting. I mean, I was so busy all summer and then so sick after that I feel like the last 2 weeks have been fantastic. Best 2 weeks ever. So yeah, and then I came up, like Steve said, I came up for the, to see Corey. We stayed together at our hotel there in Bloomington, and we had such a fun time. And the Kelly's shop there in Bloomington is just wonderful, and I got to visit with Steve. It was wonderful. I had the best weekend, and now I get to go home, and the kids still have tomorrow off school because it's a Columbus Day here in Illinois. Well, it's Columbus Day everywhere, but in Illinois we observe it as a day off of school. And so, yeah, I couldn't be happier. There's no complaints here at all.
Good. Well, let's get to the knitting, shall we? So, what are we working on? What is performing this week? Well, what's taking a bow? What's finished? I have some things. I did not think I would, but traveling and hanging out with people, you need some mindless stuff, and so, as you know, I usually have mindless things on the needles, and guess what? I finished 2 more hats. Yes, I did. So, these are going to be going to part of the Operation Kimo Comfort Hat Drive, which I'll talk about later, so if you have hats around, stay tuned. But, so what I've been doing lately is I've been taking Leading Men Fiber Arts box office base, or worsted weight, and I knit half the skein into a square swatch, which both of these I have swatches already made. I'm not showing those off as FOs because I'm not keeping track of the yardage or anything of that, for a swatch book for the booth when we vend at shows. And the other half, I'm knitting a hat to donate to Operation Kimo Comfort. So this first one is Fortune Teller, which is close to a navy blue, but it has more gray tones, and it's a little more, it's vibrant, but it's a little more paled out, I would say. It's a little paler. So I finished that one. And then last night I got home from hanging out, and all I had to do was the crown decreases. And this is, again, box office in King Max, which was last month's colorway of the month. So I made this one about an inch shorter, and I actually like it a little bit more. It's a little more fitted, so I enjoy it. So there's that. So I finished 2 hats. So at least I got something to finish. Callie, you?
I have nothing. This should be no surprise.
I finished a pair of socks, but they're not here because this was impromptu. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, what's performing? Okay. So, first for me is my starting point, Mystery No Longer a Mystery by Joji Locatelli. I am so close to putting these 2 pieces together, it's not even funny. So, I'm on the last part of clue 4 before clue 5 is the last clue, and you put them together. So, I already have 1 half finished. I'm so close to finishing the first half of this. So this is all knit out of Leading Men Fiber Arts Show Stealer. The black is Darkest Hour, the gold is Smoky Quartz, the gray is London Fog, the green is Double Your Pleasure, and then the speckle is a custom speckle, which I think will be coming out next year, called Starting Point. So I'm enjoying it. It's going to grow like the dickens, I know, once I block it. So I'm working on the black portion that's the dark cross in the middle, if you've seen the finished one, and then I get to start doing the magic of putting the 2 pieces together. And this is knit on a size 6 US, which is a 4mm needle. And then after that, I should just move my notes over here. A Day to Remember. I was working on this as Amber and I were chatting before Callie got here. This again is by Joji Locatelli. This hasn't gotten much love. And again, lace weight takes forever, so not much progress. But this is out of Madeline Tosh Prairie in the Cove colorway, which is a lace weight on a size 6 US 4mm again, and it will be a crescent-shaped shawl with eyelets. So it's a lot of garter, mindless, takes forever to get across a row, but it'll be a nice, light, airy piece when it's done. Next up is my grandma's favorite microfiber blanket, and I am working on the decreases now. So I told you it's going to be more like a rhombus, and oh, it's that big. It's so soft. And you know what? It's going to actually be nice almost as a stole, like a wraparound, not even for your legs if you get cold.
It's really pretty.
Because it'll have the 2 points and I don't know if you can see here. You ladies probably can. That's the center straight part, and then it's going to point and point. So, but it's squishy, and for being, a big box commercial baby type yarn,
I think it's fantastic.
it's going to be something nice to have on your couch.
I reached over when we first started, and I rubbed it, and then it probably looked to everybody like I was like rubbing your knee, but that is
it was the blanket.
It's a soft blanket.
So it'll go well in our living room. But it is warm, so I'm going to put that down for a second. And that's knit out of Bernat baby blanket in the Little Sandcastles colorway on a size 11 US, which is an 8mm needle. Alright, the next thing got a decent amount of love, and that is my flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. And I'm using Barocco Vintage colors in number 5220, which is Cafe Latte. And I think I am about 2.5 inches from putting on the ribbing, I think, if I remember the pattern correctly. I haven't looked at it in a while. Because the nice thing about this simple sweater is you just knit straight on down till you go to the ribbing. So I've added in balls 3 and 4, I think. No, 5 and 6 of 8 total that I bought. So here we are. And I like the way that it's playing up. So this is knit on a size 6 and 8 US, which is 4 and 5mm. And I am alternating the skeins even though it is a commercial yarn in the hopes of avoiding as much pooling and flashing. Though as I joined in the new skeins yesterday, I had Amber check it out and I was like, are we getting a little more pooling than we had? And I think the two skeins kind of started all in similar places in the skein, so I actually switched one of the skeins to go from the inside rather than the outside like I normally do. So I'm enjoying that. It's nice to have a sweater go so quickly. And I know I've been talking about it for about 6 weeks now, but that is quick for me. Sweaters usually take me 9 months. As if you're a long-time viewer, you know that. Because you hear about them forever and a day. And then the last thing I cast on just yesterday and finished the first part yesterday morning. Michelle Hunter, who is Knit Pearl Hunter, came out with her new mystery knit along called Behind the Scenes, and it is a cabled scarf/cowl that you can button up. So if you are wanting to knit this, look away, but it's just the first section, and she shows a picture of the pattern once you actually print it off. So this is knit out of Haiku O in the Oh Wow colorway. So all the colors have, you put the O with it, so it's like Oh Fudge, Oh Wow, Oh Yeah, Oh, so those are the color names. So this is a bright chartreusey green, and you can see the cables there. So I finished the first part. This is 100% baby alpaca. And the buttons are going to live inside of these cables, she said, here at the edge. So, super easy. It's nice to knit on a bulky yarn and a size 10 US 8mm needle. So, there's that. That's all that I'm working on.
Is it?
It could be more, but
I'm just kidding.
I have some self-control. Sometimes.
I'm working on the Back to School shawl by Sarah Berghardt Abram, and I'm knitting it in Poison Apple and the Redbird Egg colorway. And I am so close to being done. So I am on the last little bit. Thank you. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be a nice size shawl. So just keeps going. So I'm really excited about it, and
really pretty.
Thank you. I leave for vacation on Friday, and so I'm hoping to get that done because where I'm going, there is no internet, there is no computer access, so I'm very excited about that, and also extremely nervous because we've just got a lot going on at work, but I need to unplug, so it'll be nice to get away and just kind of focus on some things. So that's all I'm working on actively right now.
I brought two things with me. I have a sock and a sweater. So what has to be done first is my sweater. And I am knitting the Palette cardigan by Lisa Ross. And I have a picture here. I think you can probably see it. Nah, you can't. It's really pretty though. It is a button-up cardigan, and it's raglan shaping, top-down raglan, and you get just below the bust, and then you start a series of stripes, 4 stripes, and so a lot of the sweaters are done in a gradient, and I didn't choose a gradient. I just chose coordinating colors. So I'm knitting this out of 3 Irish girls, and look at me thinking I know what I'm talking about. I think it's My Cherie Amour. Yep, My Cherie Amour. And then I have the 4 colors. I could have done this ahead of time. Look at this, making your production all...
Nah.
We fly by the seat of our pants here at Dramatic Knits. We're not all scheduled and edited. And
okay, well...
It's organic.
Good thing. Because
there are 4 beautiful colors. What's the base that this is on?
It's on her Spring Veil worsted base, which is just 100% superwash wool. And I know that... I don't know what this one is. You know what? I have a project page, and they're all on there. So I'm Amber Lindemann on Ravelry. So if you want to know these colors, they will be there. But this is really pretty. This one is called, yeah, I don't know. And then...
So there's a pink, the brown.
Yeah. One of them's called Guinness. I'm really sorry. Anyway, this is so pretty. Springville worsted 3 Irish girls. I thought I had all my tags with me, and I must have them in my other project bag. But I have flown on this. I only had about 6 rows done a week ago, and so I just went to town and was able to get all my raglan shaping done. I'm knitting the size 47 inch, so the back is fairly wide there, and then I separated for my sleeves, and I've been able to put on the 4th of my 4 colors. So after this golden stripe, then there is a little bit more of the main color. Then I'll have the bottom ribbing. I'll have to do the button band up and around, and both sleeves. The sleeves do have a really pretty stripe feature on the sleeves as well to match the body. I'm very excited about this.
It's very pretty.
Mm-hmm. I didn't really know how it would, how my colors would pick, because you think, I mean, they're beautiful, all 4 colors, but you can often put 4 colors together that are pretty on their own, and you don't know how they're going to be together, but I think it's going to be stunning.
Yeah.
It's very fall without being just fall. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm knitting out on size 6s. 6s and 4s. Most of my worsted weight sweaters I knit on 8s. And so this has been just not because I want to knit them. The patterns call for 8s. Anyway, so yeah, it's a little denser than my normal, what I'm used to, worsted weight sweater. I'm really super excited about it. But I also brought a sock because I didn't want to, I can't just knit on one thing. And we went out to eat a few times, and I didn't want to bring the big sweater out.
Right, you don't bring a sweater into the restaurant.
So I also am working on a sock, and it's actually out of Steve's yarn, out of Lediman Fiber Arts yarn. Their new colorway of the month for October called Trapdoor, and I love it. And this is going to look kind of funny, and I'll explain it in just a second. So I have recently acquired a super fun crank sock machine. So if you don't know what that is, it is just a piece of equipment. Super cool. There's lots of vintage ones out there. This is not a vintage one. It's a reproduction one. And you can actually crank sock tubes. And you can crank an entire sock with a cuff and a heel and a toe as well. But I'm just knitting tubes. And so I just took his trapdoor and just went to town. Crazy. This red.
Love the way that it came out.
This red is a waist yarn, so this actually comes out. That's not something you'll see, but you might think that is one long leg. My family is tall. My husband
Your son
and my
is tall,
son
but not that tall.
So what I'm doing, it's kind of like if you've heard of that Afterthought Everything sock that was kind of popular over this past year. I just knit the tube. I picked up for the cuff. I'm starting that. When I'm done with the cuff, I'll measure down until the end of the sock. I'll pick up those stitches, cut that yarn, add a toe, pick up for the next cuff, and then add a toe. So it's a little awkward right now because it's so big. If I were at home, I would have already separated this out, but I cranked this sock tube just 12 hours before I walked out the door to come up here, so I didn't want to, I just kind of stuffed it in my bag and went. But I love the yarn. It is a beautiful, is it considered a speckle?
It's speckle,
yeah. It's a beautiful speckle with I don't know what colors he would say there are, but there's this champagne color and this golden and gray and black and almost a walnut brown. Or is that a purple? I adore it. It's just beautiful. And so I don't know who they're going to go to. One of the boys, I'm doing the contrast cuffs, heels, and toes all in the Spotlight base. This is the Showstopper base, which is the 75-25. That's kind of what the kick I've been on here on the sock machine. It's a really big learning curve, and I feel like this base, I can do it very easily without it causing me problems. So I'm kind of sticking with that. And I'm just doing the darkest hour in Spotlight for so just a dark black. For the contrast, I just think they're stunning. I love it. I think that the thing I'm the most excited about the sock machine is getting to do that. Is getting to get a colorway of the month and be like, oh, I like that, and then I got a sock tube. Now, granted, I cranked out a whole bunch of sock tubes this week, and now they're going to sit in a tote until Christmas. Until I have time to do the finishing work on them. But
the other thing that we talked about several times was because the sock machine has consistent gauge after her learning curve. So, it took a little while to get the consistent gauge. But now that it's consistent...
It's consistent all
the way down. And with variegated yarns, when you pick up and you're hand knitting the main portion of a sock, if you have a bad day, your gauge can change. And then you have a really relaxing afternoon, and your gauge is going to change again. And that can totally change the look of a variegated yarn. And so this has kind of opened up a whole new door for Amber, especially with our yarn and variegated. So... I'm excited to see it that way as well.
Yeah, because I had said that. I mean, and if you follow what I knit, I don't often knit with variegated yarns. I knit with every other one of Steve and Andy's colors, but not often the variegated ones. And I jokingly said, and you didn't think I could buy more of your yarn. I will prove you wrong, because now I can. Now
Andy's
I can buy
downstairs dying more now.
May have put a little bit of an order in, so when I got here. So, yep. Anyway, but yeah, that's all I've got. Socks,
awesome.
Socks and sweater. And now I'm going to get back on the sweater. I have 1 week. One week to finish.
Let's talk about what's in rehearsal. What are we going to be casting on soon? For myself, it'll probably be another hat. I have the other half of Trapdoor. I need a swatch for this month, so I'm going to be knitting a hat while I am out vending this weekend. And that's pretty much all that I have on the plate for me right now, because once I finish that starting point, I really want to focus on that A Day to Remember, that lace weight shawl, to get those off the needles, so then I can guilt-free cast something else on and, use my random number generator technique, which word's been getting around on that. I have a lot of people approach me and they're like, they'll watch the podcast and they're like, tell my friend about how you knit your objects or how you pick your projects. I'm just like, I'm very much a type A personality and I can't help it.
I plan on casting on a hat for our knit along, and I'm also going to finish up 2 pairs of socks that I have, and I put a shawl in timeout because I didn't understand the pattern, and I think I'm okay to come back to it now. So when I'm on vacation, that will be finishing up projects, and I've got 2 that I would like to start besides the hat, so we'll see how far that gets.
I'm just going to be working on socks. Like I said, right before I came down, I sat down at the sock machine, and I thought, I'm going to crank socks until it jams and I have to quit. And I had a really good night. It didn't jam. It just kept going and kept going. And so I cranked 19 sock tubes, and then it jammed, but then I didn't stop, and I cranked 4 more. So I actually did 23 sock tubes. Now, that sounds ridiculous, because it is. But yes, yeah. I went through and I was able to crank a tube for gifts. I made some for my brother-in-law and a few for my sister and the neighbors, and I just went through all of these kind of check off my list. Now I just have to put in the heels and toes. So I have a trip to Rhinebeck coming up, and I'm super excited about having all of these sock tubes that I can be working on the heels, toes, and cuffs. And so I'm just going to be a literal sock machine for the next few weeks after I finish my sweater. So it's all socks all the time for me.
And that's your bread and butter to begin with.
I love
socks. So, it's just making you even more happy to do what you do.
I'm so excited.
You do you, boo-boo. That's my mantra in life, right?
I am super excited.
You do you.
I think the other thing is you're not killing yourself over Christmas gifts.
Oh, yeah.
Especially with the slippers last year. I mean, you were a master on that.
I am surprised your hands are not like this after.
I have a few pairs of and what Callie's talking about, I made 12 pairs of those worsted weight felted slippers, men and women's slippers, and I put leather soles on the bottoms, and they were so fantastic. But it's a lot. It's size either I don't remember now. I've blocked this horrible thing from my memory. I don't remember if it was 10.5s or 11s, but they were large needles, worsted weight wool held double, not a nice soft super wash wool, that super scratchy, the cheapest feltable wool you can find. And anyway, I loved it, and everyone loved them. And then also when it came time to sew the leather on, that was not an easy feat to get the thick leather. Anyway, I have a few pairs I'd like to make this sweater. There were people I didn't get them made for. And so I think
subtle, real subtle.
But I would like to make a few pairs this winter. But yeah, so now I can focus on small things like that. Still get hand knit socks done for people. And yeah, there's a ridiculous amount of hats I want to knit. Just some really cute hats out there.
I think, we kind of have talked about it off the show, but we've talked about, hats are a great way to test different pattern and knitting skills. If you're not so sure and you have like a stitched pattern, that's a lot easier to try it on hat versus like go full in on a sweater with it.
Well, and they're those good palette cleansers.
Yep.
I mean, because no matter what hat you're doing, even a colorwork hat, shouldn't take you longer than a week at most, maybe, if that's what you're really focusing on. Like, granted, I do basic stockinette ones, but worsted weight hats. Now, I'm not talking a socket hat, okay? I've done enough of those. Yeah. That's crazy sauce anymore. But if you just want to knit a hat at a worsted weight, you can do it anywhere from a day to a week. A couple hours to, a week if you're giving yourself time. And so, there's not that investment. You noticed at the beginning of the year I was doing a boomerang every month to test out the new colorways. I love boomerangs, but I was literally running from one end of the month to the other to just start another one, and I felt a lot of pressure. So
I like this better though because I get to pick what he does. That's very presumptuous. I like this though because not only are you getting your swatch for your book for your booth, but you're also donating to charity.
Right.
Yeah.
And you get both out of one skein.
Yep.
So works out well.
I love that you can do that because when I make a hat, I use the other 50 grams for the pom-pom.
Well, and I did a couple pom-poms, and we've talked here on the show why, especially for donating them, why you don't want to use a lot of pom-poms.
But I do enjoy a good party on the back of my head, which is bigger the pom-pom, the better.
Which, by the way, remind me when we're done recording about that. Anyway.
Deal.
Let's talk about behind the scenes. So, what am I spinning? I'm still working on some Knit Spin Farm bats, which I know you are a huge fan
Love
of.
Joanna's
I'm not a huge bat fan, and Joanna knows this, but I do. Of the bats I've spun, most of them have either been wool pierogi or Knit Spin Farm. And so this came from the fiber event at Greencastle, not this year, but in 2016. And it is an interesting mix of wool. It is Dorset Horn wool and Ile-de-France wool in the electric colorway. And I have a little bit of it all the way under all of this stuff. Oh, well, here's one bat. Yeah, because all the rest is on my Hanson mini spinners. So this is one data. There was two in there. So I'm doing a traditional two-ply. I just spun up one and the other one. She did put a note on here that it is great for socks. So I know Joanna loves to do hand-spun, hand-knit socks, and she even has her 3-plies 2 ways, which was very popular. I'd say probably maybe like a year ago, and people are still doing that to kind of give an interesting effect to hand-knitted socks out of hand-spun yarn. So that's what I'm spinning.
I don't have anything.
I was going to say, are you
not at home.
You kind of tour de fleece it
After
out?
The Rhinebeck sweater is the...
That's the goal.
Yep, I can't do anything.
Focus.
I'm not even feeding my family until this sweater's done.
All right, so let's move on in the scene shop, our other crafting. So I took it off of the Q Snap today because Amber was coming over and I wanted to be like, look what I'm doing. Don't mind all my frayed edges. And I realized I'm a stitch off on a certain plane, and I'm like, well, when we get there, we're just going to fudge it until it works. Because that's how steel works. And really, if I stuck to a 10 by 10 block, I'd probably be a lot better. But when you have only 3 stitches and you have this whole length of thread, I'm like, no, I'm going to go move over here and down here, and I try to count as best as I can. But I need to tell myself it's either okay to not use all the thread because I'm not going to park. I haven't seen a video on how to do it, so I understand the concept, but to me, to find those threads again in a mass of threads, like when you park, is going to be really hard to individualize that thread, let alone, do you know that that's the right color? Or what if it's like blended, like two colors together? So anyway, I am cross-stitching a truck. No, I'm not, but you probably heard it in the background. I am cross-stitching a dimensions kit called In the Moment, and it says Live Life in the Moment. And so I have the in done, and I'm working on the again. So, yeah, it's going along. You can see my little bits down there. Amber's seeing my backside of my cross-stitch. And she can judge all she wants, but I know she won't.
I think it looks great. I was totally looking at it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And I think it looks great.
Oh, I don't care. There's parts where it got knotted, and I'm like, I'm not cutting that. I just stitch it right in.
I used to count cross stitch, and this is exactly how mine looked.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, if it was a kitchen towel or something, that's where you're
right.
But you're putting this in a frame.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna
see that,
huh?
Ain't nobody gonna see it in the frame.
I know there's plenty of things you can do with cross-stitch. Going into cross-stitch, there's so little that I'm actually interested in design-wise that is my aesthetic, that if I'm going to spend that time, I want it displayed. I don't want to put it on a towel. I don't want to... it's not my first hobby, so it takes a lot of time. And I'm willing to invest that money in framing when things are done, even if it is a cheaper dimensions kit. So that's what I'm working on in my other crafts.
Callie?
Sorry, I was slightly counting.
Pushing her along.
Come on,
Callie. I want to know what you're doing.
I'm doing 2 jelly roll quilts over vacation, and they're both Christmas presents. And it kind of works out because where I'm going on vacation, I don't have the backs or the side pieces and borders. That's what the words that I was looking for. I don't have the backing. I don't have any of the batting or the borders or anything like that, because with jelly roll quilts I wanted to see how it would look first and then find the backing and the borders. And where I'm going is huge quilt. It's all Amish quilt stores down there, and there's a couple of like commercial quilt stores as well that are not Amish or Mennonite owned. I don't know if that's it's the correct word. So I'm hoping to be able to find something unique down there. And the other part is that one recipient of one of the quilts is always hot. So I want to do a cotton batting for that one. The other one lives up in Michigan, and I want to do, there's a wool batting that I would like to do for them because it's warmer, and I know that they'll use it more if it's a warmer blanket. So, and both of the places that I'm looking at when I finish up the jelly roll quilts on vacation are very reasonably priced. So that'll be nice to be able to support small business down there too.
Awesome.
Well, the other thing I'm working on at home is sewing some skirts, because I like to sew the skirts that I wear. And Rhinebeck, I've got some fun fabric. If you're going to be at Rhinebeck, I will be the insane woman wearing hopefully this sweater. If not, this with needles in it. It may be like a sleeve and a half, but I'm wearing it. And I have fun fabrics like with squirrels, and it's crazy, but I can't wait.
I could just see you with needles on each arm going, I'm coming in for a hug. Cover your eyes. Don't want to poke them out.
We had a friend.
These are signatures.
We had a friend, S.O. Waters, Steven.
Yeah.
He didn't finish his Rhinebeck sweater one year, a sleeve, and he put a jacket on over it. He wore his sweater, needles in the sleeve, and put a jacket on over it. And like, I got my Rhinebeck sweater done, and he looked fantastic. So I'm going to just take a page out of his book, and I'm wearing this sweater one way or the other.
You will get it done.
I will.
You know what's interesting? This is kind of just a random thought, but like, I'm allergic to a lot of things, and metal is one of them, and so I can't really wear anything that's not gold or silver.
Yeah.
And so I bought needles knowing that eventually this allergy is only going to get worse, that are wooden. And so I don't think I could do that, because I think that it would irritate me and I would break out and basically die. So That's
There is
cool.
a bird wanting to talk to you, Callie.
It clearly agrees that I
It
would
wants
die.
to be on the podcast. Sorry if you have your earbuds in and it's loud, but... Anyway, he's got to get the last word in, just like me. We're going to be going for a long time. All right, let's move into the spotlight. So we're going to get a little chatty here, but you all are settled in. You got some knitting, you got some coffee or tea or whatever you're drinking. Maybe something...
I'm going to make this all
I'd say
casual
it
and
gets-
up in here. It's a little warm.
It gets a little warm, and I forgot to turn on the fan.
No, it's okay. We're just going to go high hair.
He wouldn't
So.
turn on the Beyonce fan.
Sorry. I forget half the time. All right, in the spotlight, what are we watching and reading? So, shows. I am watching American Horror Story Cult. It got a little bit better this week because I can kind of see more. I mean, it was very clearly tied to like realistic things going on in our country right now, but I really could see the mass hysteria being built. So enjoyed that a little bit better. Will and Grace came back. If you did not watch that, Andy and I sat down. I don't know, several days after it came out, and we watched it. I feel like I'm not in the same place in my life, but yet they want to go to exactly the same place they were at, which is what people want. I get that. I'm hoping it grows a little bit. I was just like, I can't keep up with the humor. I feel like I'm not that young anymore, and half of it I'm like, what? I just... so there's that, and it just... I know it was campy and over the top, and it still is, but I'm just like... So we'll see. I still have the episode 2 to watch that came out on Thursday. Part of my show notes are flying around the room, you know, as you do. Anyway, I did see an advertisement, though. As you know, I like the show Teachers, which is on
TV Land.
TV Land, thank you. And it actually stars one of my former colleagues from college. And they're coming back for their second half of season 2 in beginning of November. So that's exciting. I know they had finished wrapping it up. About the time that the first half ended airing, they finished filming the second half. So I'm excited. They had a cute little superhero-themed advertisement, and I think it's doing really well for their TV show, for that channel. So anyway, books. What did I finish listening to? I finished listening to Private by James Patterson. It's a typical James Patterson written by somebody else that he slaps his name on, but I still read them and listen to them. This was about it's a series, the beginning of a series, and it was free on Audible. But it's about a private investigative company called Private, and several things happen that need to be solved. So it's just one of those extremely formulaic mysteries, and while I'm working during the day, it was entertaining. But I even told Amber about this next book, and I said I really enjoyed it, and I think it's my second only 5-star on Goodreads.
Wow.
And it is Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. And I had originally heard this on the two Knit Lit Chicks. They had read it, and I thought it sounded interesting. But then when I was going to Michigan last weekend, I said to my sister, she was traveling with me, I said, hey, let's pick out a book that we can listen to. And so she said, you know what, I heard about this. She's listening to podcasts a lot now, like movie and music and book podcasts while she's working. And so she said, I heard about this book, and she told me it, and she said, let's try it. And it's about a plane crash that happens that's flying a private plane from Martha's Vineyard to New Jersey. And the plane goes down about 18 minutes into the flight. And so it is a third-person omniscient narrator. And so you get the story from a bunch of different people on the plane, not on the plane, people investigating, trying to figure out what happened before the fall. And I really enjoyed it. There was a family on the plane. They were the ones who hired the private jet, and then they had guests, a wealthy couple, and then even they had an artist as well that was not so well known, and the crew. And the artist and the 3-year-old son were the only ones who survived. And so it's kind of like, why was this guy on the plane? How did he survive? You know, was it also part of something else going on with the family? So enjoyed it, and it kept you going until the end. So I highly recommend that. That was Before the Fall by Noah Hawley. Callie, what are you watching or reading?
I'm still watching like all of the NCISs, and that's been going well. Trying to think. I'm reading a bunch of different things right now. I'm not really committed to one book.
Did you finish the Albert Einstein taking his brain story?
No, not yet. And I told my coworker, and she's like, can I borrow that when you get done? So I guess I'm going to take that on vacation and finish it up. I mean, it is highly entertaining. The author of it is a wonderful writer. Like,
I need to see if it's on Audible. It just sounds totally outside of my wheelhouse, but something that I'm like, that sounds interesting.
Like, I feel like I'm going to finish that, and then I'm going to start deer hunting with Jesus, because if you're going to finish that Barnes & Noble trip of random, you should really just commit. Like, that's what I feel like.
So if you did not watch last episode, Kelly's reading a book about the guy who did the autopsy on Albert Einstein, and he actually took his brain and put it in Tupperware and froze it. So it's kind of like...
It's a road trip story, essentially.
Yeah. So, sounds interesting. And it's true. So... The things that happen in our world, not today's world, but in our world in general. What are you watching and or reading?
I'm not reading anything. I am not a good, I am a good reader.
You're not your sister.
Yeah, my sister is
devours books.
A reader like I am a knitter. And, I'm just not, I love to read, but I really love to knit. And so I knit more than I read. But, I just have I have a cool reading story, though, if I can share. Yeah. So, my sister, huge Stephen King fan, and we have gone to see him in the past, and he doesn't tour often because he doesn't have to, because he writes books, and they automatically go to the bestseller list. And I think he has some social anxiety, and he just doesn't like crowds, but he wrote a book with his son, Owen. And so, it's Stephen King and Owen King, and I don't remember something beauty... Doesn't matter. It's on Amazon, I'm sure. But she went to St. Louis and went to the event. And Stephen King doesn't sign books. He randomly signs books, and then when you leave one of his events, they hand you your book that you get with your ticket. And last time we weren't lucky, but this time she got a signed book, and she cried. And I was so excited for her, because she's not that person who's then going to put it on eBay.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. I said, Brianna, I'm so excited for you because I know how much you love it. And I said, and you're not going to go home and charge $500 for it on eBay. And I said, we'll bury you with it. And her answer was, well, you better. So, she was so excited. So, I'm not reading. She's reading that, in case you care. And I am binge-watching Magnum P.I. and Cheers. So, nice. We're watching Cheers with the kids. And we tried to get them into Magnum P.I. and...
It's hard to sell the stash.
I love Tom Selleck. I was telling Steve and Andy. I said,
I gave her a look. I was like,
I love Magnum P.I. and Murder, She Wrote.
I'll give you that one.
Yeah, and I love all those old shows. And I was telling Steve, when we finish Cheers with the kids, we're moving on to MASH. We have the MASH box set.
Yeah.
Alan Alda. Is he dead? Did Alan Alda die?
I'm not gonna lie, all those shows are a little before my day.
Oh,
I got you.
Love them. Me and Callie.
Yeah. I grew up on 90210 in Melrose Place, so
yeah.
I had 90210 bed sheets.
I
did. I slept on their faces.
I love that. That was worth the trip. I'm going to Google and see if Alan Alda's dead. Just real quick.
I was going to say, so the bookstore that did that was Left Bank Books, and they're one of my favorite independent bookstores, but I forgot to add, so not this Thursday, but next Thursday, it doesn't matter when. We'll talk about it.
Alan Alda is alive.
Crisis averted.
As of the taping of this episode, no guarantees whenever you're watching this. But I'm going to another independent bookstore. They're doing an event with Gabriella Union and her new book. So my best friend and I are going to do that.
When is that?
It's the 26th, and it's going to be
just soon. Couple weeks.
It's going to be, it's hosted through Anderson's Bookshop, but it's going to be at a Hilton because it's, the title of her book is We're Going to Need More Wine. And so a local company is bringing in wine. So it's like a wine tasting, book signing, author event, and kind of really all about that.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Well, let's move on to stash enhancement. I was a little bad on Thursday after setting up the trunk show at my local yarn store. And she's like, picked up, she's got a bunch of the Perfect by Regia, which if you're unfamiliar, Perfect starts with a yellow line, a yellow streak of yarn, and then you start, once that yellow line is done, you cast on there, and you knit through your sock, and then in the middle of the skein there's another yellow line, so your socks will perfectly match. And so I picked up a couple, I was like, I've always wanted to try this, da-da-da-da, and she's like, well, I got the new Arnie and Carlos line in.
I do love me some Arnie and Carlos.
So I picked up two. She's like, look at these and look at this and look. And I was like, oh, these are similar. I said I could have a Steve and Andy pair, like one pair for Steve, one for Andy. They're similar, but they're not matching. Because Andy, if I wear something like a button-down shirt that's one color, he will not wear a button-down shirt that's the other color. Or like polos, or we can't match. That's not his cup of tea. So I've got the Summer Nights and the Fall Nights, and this is Fall Nights, which is brown. You won't be able to see it, but it's got browns and grays and oranges and blues with that faux fair isle going through it, and you can see the yellow line on the outside, so that gives you your starting point, and it even has a thing, start here, so it shows you where to pick the yarn. It's got a little cut in the label. And then I got the Summer Nights, and after I purchased this and got home, I'm like, I purchased the regular skeins of Summer Nights from my local yarn store several months ago, so I could knit the same pair, or I might use the others as a prize or, gifts, or might just stay in the stash until I...
You can just give them to Amber to crank out.
I could, but... So that's all my stash enhancement. I didn't get anything other
Did you buy
than
anything yesterday?
I did.
I should have brought mine up. It's in the car.
Spoiler, she got a little bit of leading on fiber.
I also did get some leading men fiber arts. So I got Trapdoor, and I also got Vintage Sleigh Ride, both on Spotlight. And I'm going to combine these two because I'm...
No,
it's
a
pretty.
different,
but it's close.
Yeah.
And so I got that, and then I also got a kit. So my pseudo-nephew, Langston, is a chunker. Like, I love him to death.
Like blows chunks, or is kind of heavy?
He's kind of hefty. Like, I held him at, 3 months, and, he was hefty. Because he only sleeps in, a sloth-like position. And so, you're holding him at this awkward angle anyways. And I was like, oh, God, my arm's gonna, die.
Tear a ligament.
Yeah. Someone's gonna have to call the ambulance. And we're in the middle of Bufu nowhere. So, the ambulance is not getting there right away. Anyways, I digress. But I picked up this hat pattern kit. It's called Ashley. It's the rainbow hat in Yuri, and it's by Classic Elite Yarns, but it's a mini skein set, and it also includes the pattern, but I'm going to make that for him for Christmas, so, because I've made his parents both hats, so it'll be a nice little, everybody gets a hat.
Has a hat.
Yeah, so.
Well, I bought a whole bag full of stuff. I bought I got lots of leading men, but what was super cool about it, again, because it's the sock machine, there are certain things that I'm not going to knit by hand. I'm not going to knit a pair of all black socks. Or I was going to say, or all navy, and I have done that. But your primordial color, which is almost like a coffee brown.
Yeah, it's purple, dark purple brown color. Slightly variegated.
And this time of year, going into the fall, going into the winter, it's not what I would have picked off the shelf to knit with, because it's just hard for me to see late at night. It gets so dark so early, and I would have chosen something super bright, and I picked that one because I'm going to go home. Rick's that'll be his favorite pair of socks, is that super dark. So yeah, I don't know.
What else did you get besides what other brands?
I got some Opal.
I got some Opal.
Love me some good Opal yarn.
I got some Workhorse.
I'm sure that's all I got.
Did you not pick up the stuff for the bear or the dog?
No. So I almost bought this faux fur, dog fur yarn. I still want it. I'm sitting here thinking that was dumb, and then I kind of thinking that was dumb that I didn't get it. I'm going to be back up at Kelly's shop for Hand-Dyed Holiday in December. I'll bet I go home with that dog yarn.
Can you imagine if you would have done the cat sweater for Heidi out of that?
Or just Stephen West shorts.
Yes.
We were
Guys,
talking about this
yes.
before we hit recording.
we're not even joking. This is a legit thing. But Amber and I are talking about doing... We're not talking. We are.
I'll knit them. Yeah, I'll knit them for Heidi.
I'll knit them for myself. I don't even...
Steven
We're-
was short.
yeah,
I'm
we're gonna-
not.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
It's a
No.
legit thing.
That's when you and Andy could match.
Yeah.
No.
You guys could both have a pair. I don't remember what they're called. Are they called swarts
I think so.
or something like that? But they're
Or
basically
swants.
swants.
No,
So there's-
swants are the pants. The shorts have...
And they must be, I don't know.
I think they're just called shorts.
They're
to be
knit-
honest.
They're knitted shorts.
Yeah.
Though. I mean, and they're. There's
And they're who wears short shorts, knitted shorts.
But you can knit them longer.
Oh yeah, you could. You know what? You could almost even knit them, and then you know how like the Daisy Duke shorts for girls now, you can see the pocket. You could almost do a little, peekaboo,
Contrast pocket.
Yeah, you could totes do that.
I'm so over that. When we had our local festival, I saw so many girls wearing that, and I was like, this needs to stop now. It's not cool. You don't need to see your pockets. Your shorts shouldn't be that short. Anyway, I'm going to get off of my soapbox.
So are we gonna make them that short? I'm not gonna make them that short.
No, I won't make them that short, but because I'll knit them for Heidi. I mean, she's not gonna. Well, she might. I was gonna say she's not like she's gonna wear them to the grocery store, but. So we saw Stephen West at. I've met him a couple of times, but we saw him at Rhinebeck last year. And if you were at Rhinebeck, he wore a knitted rainbow suit. Like it was. I'm assuming he had a rainbow socks, but it was rainbow pants, rainbow shirt, gloves, hat. Like he was a Stephen West rainbow. And Heidi, I'm sorry, Heidi's my daughter, in case you don't know that. And she is, she was 12 last year. She's 13 now. And as soon as she went to take her picture with him because she loved his outfit. She doesn't know he's Stephen West. She doesn't know he's a knitwear designer who people, want to meet and speak to. She just saw this dude wearing rainbow out like head to toe. And as soon as we walked away, she said, "Will you knit me a rainbow jumpsuit?" No. I will knit you almost anything.
Drawing the line.
Rainbow onesie, essentially. A long-legged onesie is what it was. I'm like...
But the irony of this, and I didn't meet him, but he was at the same Stitches Midwest one year, and he was actually wearing those, and I thought to myself, I don't know if I would be gutsy enough to do that, but here I am years later, and I'm like,
I'm wearing
knitting shorts. That's happening.
We'll let you know when we start ours. You can hatch yours on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm there now. You've convinced me. I've gone the way of the knitted shorts.
Should we have them done by hand-dyed holidays?
Oh, I don't know if I can do that, but we'll try. We'll see. Heidi's pretty small.
I'm not, so...
Let's talk about this episode's giveaway.
Moving on.
So, pulled from the generous donation of our fairy yarn mother, I pulled another knitting book, and this one is Knits to Give, 30 Knitted Gifts Made with Love by Debbie Bliss. And so we're going to be offering this up. It's got, look at this, look at the, I almost gave this the side eye in the back, but now I think it's kind of adorable. There's a lion's head scarf, amongst other things, and a zebra, and a dog sweater, and just everything and anything you could ever want. A knitted tie, blankets, bow tie, I mean, just clutches. It's got a little bit of everything. So if you're pulling for, blanks on what to make for somebody, I'm sure you could find something in here. So if you'd like to be entered for this book, you must be a member of the Dramatic Knits Ravelry group. And I'll open up a thread, and this week's prompt is, what's your favorite hangout spot? I'm like, we're hanging out today, and we're hanging out in my little hangout spot where I sit and knit and spin and cross-stitch and do all of my stuff. And Amber's been up here once, but she's never really hung out up here because, one, it's warm, when I don't have the air on. But she's actually hanging out up here today. And, so we're all good friends hanging out, and I said, I think that's a good prompt. So tell me what's your favorite hangout spot. Could be your lazy boy or your recliner in the living room. Probably is. That's fine. So, one post per person, and we will close the thread and use a random number generator to pick a winner, not a winter, next episode. All right. Moving into a round of applause, let's talk about our Operation Kimo Comfort Hat Knit Along, our drive. That's, the drive that Operation Kimo Comfort is doing. You can, as long as you vow to send off a hat, you can post a finished hat picture in our thread for an entry into our prize drawings, and you must ship out your hats no later than November 15th so that they have them by the beginning of December when they are going to close their drive and start gifting these hats. For every 25 hats we get entered, we will add an additional prize to the prize pool, and there are no restrictions on fiber content, size, color, any of that. You do whatever hat you want. It does not need to be knitted in between the time of the knit along. It could be from previous or something you don't wear anymore. As long as you vow to donate it and ship it off, you can enter it. There's more guidelines in our Ravelry thread, but if you are local to Central Illinois, our local yarn store, Les Moutons Rouge Knittery in Bloomington, Illinois, is a drop-off point for hats. So if you want to bring some hats by, Kelly is always there. Just tell her, hey, this is for Operation Kimo Company, and she will gladly accept it and hold on to it until they are picked up. So there's that. All right, our Halloween sock blank giveaway. Amber likes a good sock blank.
Do love the sock blank.
So again, last time when we were in Texas, last episode we put this up. This is from Yarnies of Texas, and that is Linda. And she did this hand-painted Black Hat Society sock blank. And so she donated this as well as some yarn to Kelly and I. And so the prompt last time was which item in the shop most puts a spell on you? The Yarnies of Texas shop. And the winner was number 14, who is MLE Call, and that is Linda from Pennsylvania, so congratulations. She said she liked the Rodeo Cowboy is one of her favorites. So there was a lot of definite favorites, fan favorites in that thread, and boy, did you guys want the sock blank, because I think that was one of our better drawings we've had. So congratulations to Linda, and thank you so much to Linda, the other Linda, for donating.
Yes.
So... all right, let's talk about our September 2017 Race to the Finished Object contest. September's over. We're now in October, so we can pull for prizes. This month, I just pulled 3 skeins of Barocco Corsica. They're a little disheveled, but they'll knit up just the same. That were donated, and they're in 3 complementing colors of purple, pinks, and
they're pretty.
Different pinks. Corsica is a 90% cotton, 10% cashmere. Oh, nice. And it is 150 yards to 50 grams, so about a sport weight, I'd say. So, you got about 150 grams of sport weight. Could do a nice cowl, something like that. And the winner of this was number 34, who is M. Christman, and that's Michelle from Sydney, Illinois. So congratulations. She knit a Sookie scarf by C.B. Williams. So congratulations, Michelle. Please email me on Ravelry, Dramatic Knits, with your first and last name and mailing address, and I will get these out to you as soon as I can. The second prize we had was a pattern from our featured designer, who is Christopher Salas, and the winner of that pattern, any pattern that can be gifted on Ravelry, was number 271, who is Am I Yes I Am, and that is Suzanne from Pennsylvania, and she knit a pair of Desert Vista dyework socks. So, congratulations to both you ladies. Suzanne, please let me know which pattern of Christopher's that you would like, and I have his pattern page linked in our show notes, which can be found at dramaticknits.com. So, ladies, do you have anything else you'd like to add before we go into some shop news?
I'm excited to see the shop stuff.
Well, if you are leaving us now, we understand. But we will see you in about 2 weeks or so. It won't be on Sunday because I will be in Michigan. But hopefully Callie and I can get together early in that week and on an evening and record. So let me show you just a smattering of what's been updated to the shop. This is not everything. Oh, and boy, is it heavy. Because I have a big pile of stuff to update, so I've been just throwing stuff in the shop. So I would say go check it out and see what's there.
I know, I'm like...
So, I have some things of interest that I don't show a lot of in here, as well as some yarn. But I just updated this morning some hoopoo kits, which I have this joke. You guys are going to think I'm bad. So you know music. Charlie Puth. And I always make the joke, I'm like, who pooed? Charlie pooed.
Kelly's like, nope, not even going to give you the obligatory laugh on that one. I'm just listen here.
Hoo-Poo is a bird, and this shawl was designed to look like the bird Hoo-Poo. It's by Sarah Abram, and so this is the original color scheme she did out of Showstopper, which is to look like a bird, and it's Copper Cloud, a full skein, and 2 intermission skeins of Nude Scene and Darkest Hour. So there are 5 of these kits available in the shop now, and it comes with a pattern as well as a coupon code to download it on Ravelry. I also updated some new ground peppered sweater kits, and so wanted to show those off. This is in the Cherry Bomb colorway, and this was a hit online. People are like, "Ooh, that'd be great for like Christmas." A lot of people got peppermint or candy cane.
That's pretty.
So there's that, and this comes with 5 skeins of our callback, our sport weight base. And another ground pepper, very much more subtle. It's even hard to see. You'll have to check out pictures. And it just depends on the dye color and how it likes to disperse in the pans. And so this one is pistachio speckles, so much more subtle than the Cherry Bomb. We updated a new Showstopper Razzle Dazzle gradient. So our Razzle Dazzles are speckled gradients, and they add a new color every mini skein. And so this is Razzle Dazzle number 19. I do have another set. Number 20 will be coming to the shop very soon. And then
This isn't going to...
we
This
have
isn't
some
gonna be in the shop
worsted.
upstairs.
This is Monsters of the Midway, which is a new Bears-themed colorway that came out. A shop asked us to dye up a Bears colorway, and then we've only done it a couple times, so there's that.
I'll hold that. I'm going to buy this in a second. When I saw it in there, I almost got my phone really quick and bought it and had your phone be like, ding, sold.
She just finished a pair of socks out of
I did.
Showstopper that she got at Stitches.
Yep.
On our Diva base, we have Olive Juice U2, which, if you don't know the story behind that, I don't know if everybody knows the joke. I get it from Family Guy, but like if you say olive juice, it looks like you're saying I love you. So anyway, and it's like an olive color. So also on Diva, we have Sangria, as well as Out Damn Spot. And if you don't know that reference, Lady Macbeth says that in the Scottish play. We're not in a theater and there's no lights crashing down on us. So if you haven't heard of the... Macbeth is the Scottish play. I was thinking it was Hamlet for a second. I've been out of the theater world for too long. Judgy face. Also on Diva, I got quite a few Diva. The Upside Down.
Beautiful.
Some other worsted. We got Yarnakuchen. I hear you can knitted cacti,
Yeah.
and they look beautiful.
I'm going to, when I sit back down to the sock machine, I have a skein of this on sock, and I haven't knit it yet, and I'm going to use Poison Apple for heels, toes, and cuffs, and I'm going to make Christmas socks.
Oh,
nice. Because that is a pretty Christmassy green.
Also green
Without
on Box
being
Office.
Christmas green. You know?
This is Sour Apple. I also have some Darkest Hour on Box Office. And then on Showcase, I have some Fortune Teller. So you saw that hat. This one's a little more tonal than the semi-solid. It's this particular Showcase base likes to make colors a little more tonal than semi-solid. But also on Showcase, we have some Barbie's 90. We have one last skein of Bahama Mama. This colorway's been discontinued, so if you like it, get it. It's the only time it'll be dyed. And then on DK, we have some Night Lily. And I got a bunch of intermission skeins of Darkest Hour in the shop right now. Somehow we dyed a whole bunch of it for the Day of the Dead kits, and we had a whole bunch of extras. So there's like 8 or 9 skeins in there. So if you want to stock up for heels, toes, cuffs, check out the shop, which again can be found at leadingmenfiberarts.bigcartel.com. And the best place to follow us is on Instagram or Facebook or Ravelry. We have groups and pages in all those places. So, turn it into a hot mess over here until we've recorded a full episode. And it's hot in general up here. So, we're going to go downstairs where there's more crossbreeds and a fan and puppies. And we can't thank you enough for joining us today. So
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We just figured it was kind of kismet that we were recording and you were in the area. So, It's not every day we got the yarn hoarder in the house. So true. So anyway, we hope you have a great 2 weeks.
I hope you have so much fun.
With your knitting.
And
until next week.
We hope you
Knit something dramatic.